Hi, I'm Stephanie Muska. We're here at IT Expo Miami 2013, and I'm joined today by Darryl Brown, Principal Advisor for MyPropHead. Darryl, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Stephanie. Nice to see you again.
Absolutely. So let's just talk a little bit about, where you guys are in the market right now before we dig into some deeper issues.
Yeah, so typically right now we provide different types of services, predominantly to technology firms for marketing turnaround, for them to work out how to bridge the gap between what they're usually trying to sell technologically and their end user customer base, because that's the kind of difficult part they're having challenges with, especially in the cloud space with all the confusion. On the flip side of that, work with investment community to help them identify which companies have the right things they need to invest in, so during their diligence phases and so on and so forth.
So you play a very important role in terms of providing them with that education to really understand what they have to do.
Yeah, it's on both sides of the equation. You know, the technology firms, when they're looking for new investment, have to translate that to something the investment teams need.
Right.
Or if they're trying to sell to their customers, they need to bridge the gaps, or even work out what products to sell. Sometimes they have something that's really, really cool, and they call it My VoIP something, or My Cloud this, but they don't actually know how to position it with the customers, and the customers are confused.
So can you give us maybe some examples in terms of ways that you've helped some of your customers to be able to translate that to their customers?
Yeah, so for example, I'm working with a networking firm right now that has a cloud deployment, and they're very happy with what they have, but the customer base is who you're going to sell to, how you're going to position it with, and what are the services I can offer, and not just position it as services. You really need to position it as, how they're going to sell to. So we're working through all that right now, building out a product portfolio, and then do all your competitive analysis behind it, how to position it. And then previous to that, I worked with another cloud company as I was going through their Series B scenario, and help them put together all their business plans and marketing plans around that, so they can go and raise their Series B funding to take their business to the next level.
So and that's obviously a pretty big overtaking for you to be able to educate these companies who might not understand the technical aspects of the process. So I mean, what kind of obstacles do you find yourself running into?
Usually stubbornness. If a technologist, I'm a technologist, I'm a geek at heart, right? But usually it's the stubbornness factor. We're very proud of what we build.
Right.
And you're like, well, but who's going to buy it? Right? Or, why are they going to buy it? Well, it does this. No, that's not why they're going to buy it. How is it going to help the customer? And that's one of the obstacles. And the other one then is trying to get that education into their sales teams.
Right.
Because the sales teams, may not be used to the space, or their sales teams can't understand what the product teams are saying, or the technology teams. And you have to do all that translation back and forth.
Yeah.
The biggest challenge is trying to keep everybody on the same page and, not ruffle shoulders.
And if the information being comprehensive to the end user isn't as important enough, I mean, you have to make sure that it's easy for your customers to provide them with that information.
Exactly.
So I mean, that's a pretty big issue at hand for sure in the industry. Now, in terms of the show this week, I mean, you're very knowledgeable, and we're on a couple of different panels.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you talked about in?
Yeah, we did a couple of panels. The one this morning actually was a very good turnout, especially since this is Friday at 9 a.m. We were talking about the business case for cloud. And a number of things that came up there was, the cost-benefit analysis, et cetera, et cetera. But as panelists, what we all really agreed on is, take cloud out of the discussion when you're talking to your customers and when you're positioning with your customers, and get back to the facts of what do you want to do with your IT infrastructure.
Right.
And as a provider, you need to do the same. What do they want to do with that? What do their customers need to do with that infrastructure? And then map that back into the technology that's going to be delivering the solution. And it's back to that one size doesn't fit all scenario. It can be a combination. It's still an IT solution. And that was one of the big point, I believe, that came out of the panel itself.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, we really appreciate you being here and being able to do that, because I mean, obviously, that's that education that needs to be kind of integrated into everyone's day to day in order to understand what they're doing.
Yeah, and it's the same with all new technology. Many years ago, I worked for a communications company and built out their MPLS product offerings. Hit 27 countries, bunch of different technical capabilities. And I remember walking into one client, and I sat with the client, and I said, "Do you know what MPLS is?" And they go, "Yeah."
What is it?
And I said, "Okay, would you like to know how we do it?"
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I actually walked through and did a map of all the different providers out there for them and the benefits of each one. And I said, so really it's like a pick list. You really need to work out which one of these maps into what your business needs. And this is where my organization at the time fit. At first, the sales team were not overly impressed with that idea. the customer bought. And we weren't even running for their solution.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's that kind of education, that kind of, you say consultative sale, but I would say it's closer to a relatively honest sale.
Yeah. Well,
there's always going to be an angle, but it's relatively honest sale.
Yeah, and I mean the selection of providers today, there's nothing more important than finding someone who knows what they're talking about. So that's obviously very important. Well, we really appreciate you being here. It's great to catch up with you again, Darryl. Thanks so much for being on the show today.
Thank you very much, Stephanie. I really appreciate it.
Definitely.